Okay. So
Okay.
Rachel Gallagher and I met back in 2018. We were both on a cruise from Plexus
Mhm.
and we met on the beach. So we reported in the Bahamas for the day, and Jeff and I just landed ourselves on the beach, and there was Rachel just sitting there with a little bottle of champagne, enjoying her time on the beach.
I went on that trip by myself. My husband couldn't go. I was like, I'm gonna go by myself. And
Yeah.
like my team had earned it. And so I was like, I'm just gonna go me. It was actually really fun.
Yeah. No, I didn't even know who she was. And then we met, and she's just so sweet and supportive, and the definition of one Plexus, because anytime I've reached out for anything, she's so helpful and so kind. But the thing that I respect the most about Rachel is she is Jill Renfro's best friend and under Jill Renfro. And you assume, like, when you're on somebody's team like that, like a rock star like Jill Renfro, like it just kind of easily happens and it's just whatever. But when I was talking to Rachel at convention, she's like, no, I have to build my own team. Like, I can't rely on Jill to do my work. Like, I have to do it. And so just taking ownership of that. And I definitely want you to share your story, Rachel, of like, I mean, we're big on like sharing the real and the raw and like, you know, the highs and the lows and the point drops and all the things and the comebacks, and like how you have rebuilt your business by recruiting business builders. So
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, thanks for
I'm
having me.
gonna mute myself.
Yeah, you're good. So y'all can unpod, like unmute yourself and ask whatever questions. I'm totally easy, totally chill. So like she said, I'm Rachel. I started Plexus like 9-ish years ago. I was a fourth grade teacher. And honestly, I just started like pretty much everyone does, felt really bad, addicted to energy drinks, just didn't feel like me. I was 25, super broke. And I just started taking the products. It's funny how like when you're still broke though, when you want something, you'll figure out the money to do it. So I'm pretty sure I like charged on a credit card, but figured out how to pay for the products and then realized pretty shortly after I've always kind of had a business mind, and I've actually tried a couple network marketing companies before, and I am a really hard worker. So I know like when I put my mind to something, I'm going to give it time, and I'm not just going to assume like, oh, it doesn't work. I'm going to put in the work because I know things require work. And then if they don't work, then I know it's not for lack of effort. And that sounds like really cocky, but that's just the way it is. It's like, I know stuff takes work. So I'm not just going to dibble dabble, then be like, oh, well, Plexus didn't work. The compensation plan sucks. Like I gave my other network marketing companies a solid year of really busting butt, like showing up to the things, doing the things, and the compensation plan just wasn't it for both of those companies. My highest check I made was $54 from one company, and I work so freaking hard to get that $54 that I was like, the return on the investment, this just isn't it. Anyway, so all that to say, I was open to network marketing. And my life then from the outside looked like I was not struggling at all. I was always going to happy hour. I say single, I was dating my husband, but like single meaning like no kids. Um, at the time. So I just kind of went to work, and then, afterwards we'd go to happy hour, we'd have fun, I'd go shopping, I'd do all the things, like go on trips. But what people did not know is that I was literally so broke I could not pay my bills. One day I had such a bad day of work. This was kind of my moment where I was like, okay, I got to do this. I got to change. But one day I had a horrible day teaching. It's like the copier jammed. Like I got in trouble by my boss, basically. Like parents came in coming at me for stuff that wasn't really my fault. Like just one of those days where it's like, could I be torn down any lower? All I wanted to do was go home and like Netflix and like drink wine and have my popcorn for dinner, as I did a lot as a single person, because my husband now, but my boyfriend then was out of town. He worked in the oil field all the time. So it was like literally me by myself all the time. So that's just what I did. And, I got home and I walked inside the door and I clicked on the light and my electricity was shut off. So that was the moment where I was like, this is ridiculous. Something has to change. And I heard this quote, or, I do a lot of personal development. I feel like that's a tip too, just like built in, is if you feel like you're struggling in your business, you probably hit a ceiling of some sort, and you just got to go and personal develop your way out of it. And that's where a lot of times my team, when they tell me like, well, I feel stuck here, I feel stagnant here, I kind of direct them where to go. Like, tell me what you're struggling with. What do you feel like you've hit a wall with? And I try and like direct them to podcasts and stuff. But when it comes down to it, you're the only person that can pull yourself out of it. You're the only person that knows what happens behind closed doors. You're the only person that knows the thoughts you're thinking. You're the only person that knows I've thought like, is this even worth it? Like, should I just quit? I've had those thoughts too. You're the only person that knows that though. So you just have to figure out and grow your way out of it. So I would typically like binge on like personal development, either YouTube or whatever, until I found something that I felt like hit and like I had an aha moment, and that would help me to grow. So the fact that y'all are here showing up to stuff, it's huge because you got to stay close to the fire and plugged in order to, or else you'll unplug from the wall basically. Because that's the thing about Plexus. No one's forcing you to show up. So it's not like teaching. I always use this as an example. If I didn't even show up one day as a no call, no show, like I would have been fired. But for Plexus, we'll no call, no show for months at a time and then wonder why our business isn't growing. What would happen if you no call, no showed as a teacher? You would not get away with that. So that's the thing with Plexus is like you have to motivate yourself. Anyways, all that to say, squirrel, but um I love it because I always get these like one-liners that stick with me. And one-liners that stuck with me was people either make changes out of desperation or inspiration, and most people wait until they're desperate to be inspired. And that was me. I had a moment where I was desperate. I came home and thought, my boyfriend at the time, he didn't like, I lived by myself. He was out of town. No one was there to save me. I lived with my lights off for a few days because I was too proud to ask for help. And I had to wait till payday until I could pay the bill. No one knew that going to school. No one knew when I went to school that next morning that I got ready by the flashlight on, a flashlight literally in my mirror. No one knew that. No one knew that I took a cold shower for a couple days because I didn't have heat from the water heater. So only you know your struggles of what's going on the outside. So that was my desperate moment where I was like, you know what? I need to make a change. Fast forward, I ended up like really getting after Plexus then and deciding I wanted to share. And that's also a moment of you never know who's going to want to share and when someone's going to have that desperate moment. So just because someone said no before, or maybe not right now, something could have changed even from last night. One day I had electricity, the next day I didn't. Something changed overnight. And if I wouldn't have had Jill there helping me and, we were co-teachers, so we were like right beside each other. So it was easy for us to connect. But if we weren't connecting about Plexus, I probably would have went another route. So if you don't approach someone when that desperate moment comes and they're ready for change, or that inspiration moment comes, and someone else will. So that's just a little plug too. But all that to say, within a year after I got after it, I hit Ruby and I made the decision to not go back to teaching, and I haven't since then. So that was 2000, I don't even know, 16, 17 maybe. 2016 or 2017, and I quit. I didn't resign my contract. And then things were going good. Things were going good. Got married. My business was growing, hit emeralds, like really had an uphill climb, I caught momentum in my team. We were busting it. I didn't have kids then, like I said. My husband worked in the oil field, so he was gone all the time. So I had a lot of time to work, a lot of time. So I did, and I took advantage of it, and I built my team to emeralds. And then once I did that, this is where another kind of ceiling hit where we had gotten married at the time. And I stayed Emerald. I actually lost it for quite a while. And it was because I got comfortable. I got comfortable with what I was doing. I got comfortable just reaching out to people about the products. I got comfortable with posting was like no longer a challenge to me. It was super easy. I could throw up a Plexus post in 2 seconds. I assumed that my team knew what to do. I kind of went into management mode a little bit. And that's what I did. I coasted for a while. It wasn't out of intentionality really. And I feel like it's just one of those where it's like I didn't plug in one day, then I didn't plug in another day, then I didn't plug in another day, and I didn't plug in another day. Then before you know it, I'm like, I got to get it together. Like I am not okay with being right here. And even though Emerald was a dream that I'd had for a very long time, it was also a place where I'm like, what am I doing? Like my vision for Plexus is not just to be like a just enough, or like this is going to be the thing that's going to allow me to stay home with my kids when we have them. So I kind of amped it up another one, personal developed my way out of that one, figured out what I needed and kind of just searched out YouTube's on my own, podcasts on my own. No one did it for me. No one told me, hey, this is what to do. You need to do it. I just did it because I felt and I reflected and knew that, hey, this is something that needs to change. So I did that and then got married. A few years later, I got pregnant and miscarried. So this is where like my business took another stagnant turn. Sorry, my doorbell just went off. Okay. So this is where I went to. So there's been a lot of plateaus in my business. I'm sharing these to show you everyone's journey is different, but whether you have a stall in your business now, maybe you're in momentum now, maybe you've stalled before and you feel like, how many times am I going to do this? This business, it just happens. That's any business is going to have ups and downs. Any business is going to have great years and fallback years. Every business is going to be like that. But the joy in this is that we get to control the time. And the beauty in this is, guys, you can literally raise your paycheck by thousands a month in a matter of a few months if you really commit. If you really commit to working to your business really hard for a few months, you could jump your paycheck to by literal thousands in a month. When I was teaching, my paycheck was 2,000 a month. And there was no room for improvement. Like we were on a pay scale. So every year you got like a certain increase. But guys, 20-year teachers, we capped out at 55,000 as a 20-year teacher. I'm like, what kind of freaking BS is that? So no matter how hard I worked, whether I worked harder or showed up better or worse than the person beside me in the classroom, we were all on the same pay scale. I was actually team lead, which just meant like a lot more work came with it. And when they told me what the pay raise was, they said 300 bucks. I was like, oh, 300 a month. Cool. Like goes to show you how people in normal jobs, how much we want a raise. I was willing to work so hard for 300 a month. Then I learned it was 300 for the entire year. And I remember asking my principal, like, can I, sorry, no, but it's calling. Can I like decline this position and like change my mind? Because 300 a year, it was tons of extra work. And they were like, haha, I'm like, I'm freaking serious. So that's the normal world for people is they don't get opportunities like this. And with Plexus, if you bust it for a few months, you could literally raise your paycheck by thousands. Anyway, so all this happened. And I got pregnant, miscarried, had 3 kids back to back. Now I have 4. So this has been in the past like 5 years. I now have a 4-year-old, a 3-year-old, almost 3-year-old, a 2-year-old, or sorry, what do I have? A 4-year-old, almost 3-year-old, a 1-year-old, and then I'm pregnant with my 4th. So back to back. And I kind of had another moment where I was, hitting Emerald. I had re-ranked. We were doing it. It's like we had, decided, okay, I'm going to go for business builders. That's what I'm going to do because that's how I'm going to go faster in this business. And then all that happened, and I had a ton of babies at one time, and my husband worked out of town basically Monday through Friday, and we didn't see him. So another point came where I had to figure out and be like, okay, this is the way it's going to be, or I have to figure out and change something in order to make the business change because it's not going to happen. Again, no one did it for me. No one made that decision for me. No one was like, hey, here's a rock star. I'm going to sign them up under you. All my customers I've gotten on my own. All my ambassadors I've gotten on my own. Like no one's just handed me this. So I had to have another moment. And I'm just showing you these moments to show you that no matter how successful you look on the outside, how much money you're making. And yes, while my paycheck now is a huge blessing for us, it's actually our main stream of income. Um, it didn't start like that and it wasn't always like that, but I know there's more, I know there's more freedom. I know there's more for us to give. I know there's bigger goals for us that I don't have to be stuck where I am. So I had to again have a reflection moment and say, what am I going to do and what am I going to change? So that's when I was talking to Darla at convention, kind of, I like had no voice when I was talking to her, bless her heart. I was like trying to talk to her, but
Bless
about
your
a
heart
year
for
ago,
trying to eke it
that's
out
so
to
bad.
me.
I was like doing sign language basically, but last year at convention, we had a leadership retreat, which you can go, what is it? Jewels of Excellence. What is it called?
Leadership excellence.
Thank you. Leadership Excellence. When you're a Jewel, you get to go to, they fly you out to Arizona. They pay for this like swanky hotel Plexus does, and they give you like the best leadership training I've ever had for a few days. So this was about last year after convention, and I went and I was telling Darla, like it's what I needed. I got plugged in. It was a very inconvenient trip for me. It was something that wasn't easy for me to make. If you remember, I said my husband traveled a ton for work. So I had to, at the time, I had like a tiny baby. My littlest baby that was in July, a 3-month-old and 2 other kids. So I had a 3-month-old, like a year and a half-year old, and a 3-year-old or however old she was. So I had a lot of little kids and I had nowhere to put them. I had to figure out childcare in 3 weeks. From this time I found out about the trip to when I booked it, I just booked my plane ticket. I just knew I had to be there. And then I figured all that out. So it wasn't easy for me to make it, but I knew in order to have growth, I had to do something different because what I was doing wasn't working. So I came back from that and just had a lot of reflection and just realized I'm not doing this right. Like I need to change it up. So that's when I really started reaching out about the business to people. Started reaching out about the business, and I just made it my one thing. And that's where I feel like a lot of us can go wrong is we think, well, this person's doing this right, and this person's doing this right. I need to do this, this, this. But really, if you just focus on that one thing that is going to help you grow your business and really move the needle, which I always hate cliche things like that, like move the needle, but it's true. Like it's cliche because it's a thing. Like it works. What's going to really move your needle? And I knew with the limited amount of time with 3 kids and with the husband that's gone, single mom in it, was what can I do to grow my business the fastest? And that was getting people to do it with me. So I singularly focused on that. I quit worrying about the team page needs this needs this, and the customer care needs this, and this needs this. I changed it to I'm looking for people to do this business and who is going to be good at this? People who are hardworking, people who aren't complainers, people who are willing to put in the time, people who have a vision, people who are already show like proof of accomplishment in other areas of their lives. So maybe I think they're a great mom, or maybe they have a clean house. Maybe they are already successful in one business. Maybe they are like the queen at mops or whatever. Like whatever it is, if someone is good in one area, I know they can be good at another area. So I always look for like evidence of success in something because I feel like I also heard this quote. I loved it was how you do something is how you do everything. So if you're gonna like half-ass it over here, you're probably gonna do that over here as well, but if you're gonna do this really well, you're probably gonna do Plexus really well. So those are the type of people I started looking for and reaching out to, and I was very consistent with that, and I got some new builders, and then that is what has really broken the plateau and put me to the next level. So that's kind of my story of I feel like a lot of people have that story too, and a lot of times on stage though, or whenever you hear stuff or people get shouted out, you see the new people going fast. You see the people who, got to diamond in 18 months, but you don't see the more common story, which is the people that are struggling, but you just have to figure out how to be creative, take ownership. And a lot of times the ownership is looking at yourself and saying, what am I doing or what am I not doing? Because a lot of times we'll say, well, my paycheck isn't where I want to be, but I always challenge my team too to take a time audit and just write down, get a little sticky note, like get a sticky note, get a little, composition book. And just for one day, even, you don't even probably need to do it for a week because you're going to have a big aha moment. For one day, write down what you're actually doing in your Plexus business. And you're going to be like, oh, that is why my paycheck is not where it wants to be. So a lot of it is just reflection. Okay, so that's kind of my story. I
That's
kind of just went all
crazy.
over the
Just
place there, but
really quick, when you talked about your paycheck, because I think that we assume if someone's a teacher, if someone's a nurse, like they're working full time, they're making full time money. But like a lot of people are that have those two professions, especially, are really struggling. Like they're strapped time wise because they're working so hard and they're not making enough, you know?
yeah, I mean, my
So,
best friend is a nurse and she picks up shifts all the time. She
yeah.
picks up shifts all the time because of the money. And so therefore, I mean, without going too much into personal life, there's been an issue because now her kid is like, "You're never home," and there's just a lot going on now that she's, like, having to deal with because she is never home, and she's
Yeah.
picking up shifts all the time to like, for what? When you really look at it, you're like, "For what?" You know?
Yeah. And that used to be me. And I remind my kids because, I'll tuck down in my office for an hour or 2 hours here and there. But I'm like, but you guys don't realize if I didn't have this opportunity, I
Mhm,
would be gone
yeah,
all the
for
time to make what I make through Plexus. It's just
yeah.
it's such a gift.
It really is, and I know something Darla wanted me to touch on too was reaching out to people about the business instead of the product, so that really is I mean, I don't care what podcast you listen to, what successful person you listen to, they're all gonna tell you the same things. There's gonna be, like, 3 important things in your business. Show up on social so people know what you're doing. It's not gonna likely get you customers, like, meaning people coming to you. It's like free advertisement, basically. It's like a billboard for us. Show up on social, message people, reach out to people about the business, and then be consistent. Those are the 3 like, that's all you have to do is show up. So when in doubt, when you're like sometimes I know too when you feel like you're like almost like Plexus becomes like a heavy weight or like a boulder that you're like, I just feel like have y'all ever felt that? Where you're just like, I want to work, but I just don't know what to do, or I feel like I'm stuck or I feel like, what do I do? I always go back to the basics of am I showing up? And I'll scroll my social media and be like, nope, there was 4 days I didn't post. Why did I not post in 4 days? Like Walmart never not advertises. Whataburger doesn't, I don't know if y'all have Whataburger there. Whataburger never doesn't advertise. Like Chick-fil-A never doesn't advertise. Their advertisements are up 24/7. They would not disappear off the face of the earth for 4 days. So how can I do that and expect to be paid like that, you know? So showing up and then reaching out about the business, because that's how you're gonna get people to do this with you. If they don't know about the business, how are they gonna share the business? And then the third one is consistency. So I know too, someone also told me that I feel like we can get a lot more intimidated about sharing the business. But someone told me once it's just like offering chocolate instead of vanilla when it comes to ice cream. We're good at offering vanilla. We could sell a triplex in our sleep. There's nothing different about offering the business. It's just saying, "Hey, do you want chocolate instead of vanilla?" And if they don't respond, just like if people in the products don't respond, what do? You follow up, but for some reason, if people say no to the business, we're like, oh my gosh. Why? Oh my gosh. And then we take it personally and then we like never message them again. And then we're like have this block and then we're nervous about reaching about the business. But all it is a different offer. And then you just do the same system. What's your system for following up about the products? You probably follow up with them. You probably invite them to some sort of event. You probably share with them stories about product success. Same thing with business. If you don't have a team business event, there's one that Diamonds do that Darla can plug y'all into every Sunday. It's 15-minute Zoom. You just invite people to it and you say, hey, just come look what we have. Come look at the flavors that we're offering. If it's for you, awesome. If it's not for you, awesome. But we take it so personally when people don't do the business the first time we ask. But then I also ask people to reflect. Did you? Like the first time someone said, hey, do you want to make money with Plexus? You're probably like, I'm good, thanks. It's not because you didn't want to, it's because you weren't desperate enough, you weren't inspired enough, or you honestly just didn't even know what they were talking about. It's not they just hadn't informed you enough. So it's just our job to inform people of what's going on. But when you make that shift to sharing about the business, that is when you really make big leaps because people go, you go so much faster, like many hands, light work. I came from a family of 9. When I do something by myself, it takes forever. I'm all about, even now my kids are little, I'm like, no, y'all are part of this family. You're helping. Like you don't get to sit on the sidelines. And that's what with Plexus, when you have helpers and not sideline sitters, you go so much faster. The dishes get done way faster. The points grow way faster. It's the same concept. Okay.
Rachel, like the girl that I told you about today, she's not on here by the way, but I reached out to her about the business back in 2019 and then again in like 2021, and both times I told you, she was like, oh, if I'm gonna partner with a company, then they better just like send me free product to share. I don't want to buy, I have to buy stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I'm like, but a lot of those companies that will just like send you free stuff, kind of like Liquid IV, like they don't have amazing comp plans. Like,
Hmm.
here's our product for free and I'll share it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
And people
but
are
the
gonna,
timing for her, here it is 6 years later, 5 years later, and now she's
mhm.
like, I just had a baby. I want to make money from home and I want to get healthy. So
Yeah.
that's a
Things change.
5 year, yeah.
Things change and she's desperate now. Things change and she's desperate, maybe not for money, but for time with her kid. Desperate doesn't always mean like scraping the bottom of the barrel for people who are like sticking IVs in their arm. Like that's not what I mean by desperate. I mean desperate by like
Yeah.
something changes where the way they are in their life right now is not okay and something needs to change.
Mm.
So Ashley says, what do you say when you're reaching out about the business? So I am a big voicemailer. I don't have like a script per se. I'm a big voice mailers, but basically I kind of have a template that I use. Like for instance, like, hey Ashley, super random. I'm not someone personally, this is me. Everyone does this different. Like you can look at 947 million trainings online about how to do this, but I don't like to butter people up. Like converse back and forth for weeks and then reach out because I feel to me that feels more slimy than just not more because I don't think what I do is slimy, but that feels slimy to me. Like, oh, you're just like buttering me up to talk to me. You should have just like told me what you wanted to say in the first place. So even if I haven't talked to you, I would say like for instance, I have a goal right now for me because I am ready to hit the next rank. And my goal is to reach out to 10 new business people, new, not anyone I've ever reached out to, a day, 5 days a week, and just be really bold. So what I do is I kind of like this is my typical thing I do is I write the names for the next day. So like tonight when I get off this call, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna figure out the 10 people that I'm gonna reach out to before I go to bed because I try and take as much friction away as possible for the business because I feel like it is a little hard for people to reach out to the business. So what I do also, okay, let me like back what I do too. Just some tips that have helped me when I'm just like scrolling, because I do sometimes, like sometimes you just gotta like erase your brain for a minute. If I see a name of someone that I'm like, oh, I want to reach out to them, I'll either screenshot their name or I'll type their name. I have a notes section in my notes and it just says biz reach outs. And so I will add their name to that. Or at night, I will go back through my screenshots and add the names of the people. Or like I have a sticky note and then I'll like go and let's say I screenshot 3 people's names that day. I'll write their names down for the next day. And then if I don't have enough to fill my 10 people, I'll go back to like my big biz prospect list that I've just had for like a year or so that I've kind of done. So you could start that today, like start today. You could always start today. That's the beauty of it. Forget everything that's happened in the past and just start today and say, today's a new day and I'm going to start new. So I'll go there and pull some names too. So that's what I do. And then what I'll do is, so tonight when I get off of this, I'm personally going to get my little sticky note. I'm like old school and I'm just going to write down my 10 names of business reach outs for tomorrow. And then tomorrow, what I'm going to do, or tonight, if I still am like my brain, like by the time I get to this time, I'm like, I'm not going to reach out to people at night. That's just not me. If that's when your brain works, do it. But I'm going to do morning time first thing and just like kind of eat that frog if you've ever read that book. So tonight, maybe I'll scroll those people's social medias and I'll look and see what they're up to. Like, oh, Susie did this. I didn't know she went to Ireland. That's so cool. Like, what a cool trip. And oh my gosh, I didn't see that her kids started Mother's Day out. So I'll like write a couple little notes or at least take mental note of what the people are doing. And then the next day, when I message them, it's always a voice message and it's like, hey, Susie, girl, I saw that your daughter went to Mother's Day out. How are you doing? I had no idea that she was already that big. Can't believe it. And, just a little bit something, not too much, but like it's crazy watching everyone's kids grow up online. I feel like that meme that's like, never met a kid, but I'm so invested, just something. And then say, hey, I know this is super random, but I've just been thinking about you. I don't know if you have ever thought about doing something like what I do with Plexus, but I just think you would be so great because XYZ. Name some lists. Recently with the cruise coming out, my messages today were like, I sat down yesterday, and this is true. I don't like make it up. I sat down yesterday and I'm just very like straightforward with people. I feel like people appreciate that. Like I sat down yesterday and thought about who would I want to go on this trip with me and who would be so much fun. And you were it. I know in college we always had so much fun together. And I just thought that this would be such a great opportunity for you and your husband to have some time together with me and my husband. And then I say something along the lines of like, if a cruise isn't something for you, that's totally fine. But would you have a reason to look at what Plexus has to offer, either the money opportunity for another stream of income or something like travel or community? Would you have a reason to look at Plexus for that? I would love to shoot you over some info, so just like very straight to the point, and it's less than a minute. So it's like, hey, what you doing? I saw this on your Facebook. It was fun to catch up, and then talk to them about why they would be good at it. Don't like fluff them for 5 minutes. Like, just get to the point, pick a few points of why they would be great and just be honest and real with them and say, would you have a reason to look at this? Do you need another stream of income? Is it something? And I say that to people because I don't assume everyone's broke because everyone's not broke. So I don't assume, I just say, I don't even know if an extra stream of income is something that you're looking for. But I do know a lot of people because of inflation are, and I have loved getting to work with new people and be able to give their families some money. Is it something that you're open to checking out? And then always just end up, is this something that you're willing to look at? Is it something that you're open to checking out? And then that's kind of it. So that's pretty much my business reach out. I always do a voice message, always, always, always. My tip to with voice messages is I keep it under a minute. And then my next thing is I always send a one-liner that's like going to get them to open the message. So I'll be like, hey girl, so looking forward to hearing back from you. Like your daughter is so freaking cute in that picture, whatever. Love seeing you. I don't know, just something
Under your
that's
voice
gonna be,
message?
yeah. So it's like my voice message and there's gonna be like a one-liner underneath that's like, can't wait to hear back from you, or hey, wait to hear what you think. Like something that's gonna make them listen to the voice message. Cause then they might be like, oh, what's that? And then click play because like curiosity. So I do that and I feel like it helps a lot. Okay. And then does that help, Ashley? That was like a long answer to your very short question.
We're like absorbing every word.
I can't breathe. I'm like pregnant belly here. Okay, I'd love to know what your daily routine looks like for your work blocks and tasks. Okay, so what I do is I just have like a list of things that I do. I have this time blocker off Amazon. I only really fill out a day at a time, of things that I need to do. And I like it because it has like top 3 priorities. And then it has like the time blocker for the day. So what I do is on my phone, I've kind of just like come up with a system that works for me. So just come up with one that works for you. But like I just use Google Calendar and I fill in my actual stuff I have on my Google Calendar. And then on Sunday nights, I'll get my like paper planner and fill in stuff. And then the night before, so like tomorrow's Wednesday, I'll fill in all the Wednesday stuff. I actually didn't do Tuesday. I just put it on a sticky note because I was on the go today. So it's still not like a foolproof, but I still had my sticky note of like my 5 plexus things I wanted to get done today. One of them was 10 business reach outs. And then the next one, I had a couple other things. But I'm going to write down all my names on here, who I'm going to reach out to, what I'm going to do, then it's all going to be on there. And what you find is it really isn't that much you have to do with Plexus to be a successful business. If someone, when I was teaching, said, "Hey, I need you to message 10 people and ask them to be teachers, and then you can leave work," I'd get it done in 4 minutes. I'd be like, "Bet, I'm out." But for some reason with Plexus, we're like, "Oh my gosh." And we don't message people for like 7 months, not even one person. It doesn't take that long. If you really look, how accomplished would you feel if you sent a message to 10 people inviting them about the business opportunity every day? You'd feel so freaking accomplished. And so that's my one thing I focus on is first, I don't check any group texts or chats. I don't get in my messenger. I don't do anything. I literally do my social media post, which I plan those on Sunday. I don't plan them like I don't type them out, but I'm like biz post Monday, product post Tuesday, product post Wednesday, biz post Thursday, biz post Friday. I'm like, what are you doing? My daughter, she's like whispering through our barn door. Um, and then so I have an idea of what I'm going to post. I have an idea of what I'm posting. And then that way, when I sit down, I'm like, okay, here's kind of what I'm thinking for this. And I'll type my post out first. And then I send out my 10 business messages. And then usually by then my kids are getting up since family. Usually by then my kids are awake. So I put my phone away. I'm not a person who there's another training that I did that said, don't sacrifice your why for your why. So I'm not going to be on my phone all the time with my kids. I'm not going to have them the reason why I do this. I'm not going to be there just on my phone all the time, ignoring them, being like, what are you doing?
It's so cute.
So, so that's what I do is I get up early enough where I get my posting done in the morning. I get my 10 reach outs and I feel so accomplished. So if the rest of the day goes to hell in a handbasket, I feel good. Like I reached out to 10 people about the business. And then typically I have pockets of time when like my kids are, napping, or I have them still on a nap routine or stuff, or let's say you carve out 30 minutes where your kids have quiet time or whatever, where then I will go and I do the winning day. Do they have the winning day worksheet from Plexus? So then it's just stuff from the winning day. I literally do that. I engage on social. I go to my chats. That's when I go and help my team. I help my team last because my team's already on Plexus. I need new people. They're already on Plexus. So I get new people. And then, it's the beauty of when you let your team sit, they figure out a lot of stuff on their own. A lot of times I get responses of like, it's so sweet. Okay, like choke cooking though. I get a lot of responses of like, oh, never mind, found it. But if you're immediately going to your chats to help your team, one, they're going to be like, never get off your teat. And two, it's like you're spending so much time with them when you look up at the end of the day and you're like, I didn't even do anything for my personal business. So that's literally a non-negotiable is getting something up on social media, messaging my 10 people. And then usually after that, it's follow-up. So people that I'm having conversations with. And then after that, let's say the kids are like outside playing or whatever, and they're like, in the sand pit or something. They don't need me, like they're not paying attention to me. That's when I'll get in my phone and I'll like, do the scrolling, commenting on people's stuff. I'll go in my chats and stuff like that. And that's honestly it. Like that really is it. We make it so hard, but it's so simple, I feel like. If they say yes, then what? So if they say they're interested, my next step is to get on a Zoom with them. And I immediately say, hey girl, so excited to chat with you about it. Let's hop on the phone it'll only take about 15 minutes and I'll just chat with you about what this is. I'm excited for you to hear about it. I have this time available today, this time available tomorrow. Which one works for you? And then pick a time that works for them. To me, if they're not willing to get on the phone, they're not that serious, So pick a time. And then on Leadership Podcast by Brittany Howard, I don't know if y'all listen to that, but there's the episode in there You'll just have to just scroll on there. And there's one that's like building business builders or something. And she walks you through exactly what to say on the phone with them. But basically on the phone, you're just telling them what it is. I feel like a lot of times we think we need to like make this something it's not. People appreciate real and people appreciate true. So I just tell them like, hey girl, this is what it is. Okay, the way you get started, have you seen anything that I posted about the Plexus products? And then if they say like yes or no, it's like, do you have any of the, okay, now you're like starting to choke me. Do you have any of these issues? And if they have issues, okay, so what we need to do first is you need to get started on a combo. So that's first step is get started on a combo. The second step is we're just going to share with family and friends. I'm going to help you and I'm going to help you with a message to send out to your family and friends. And then when you get 3 of them started this month, you get over $400. Does that sound like something that you want to do? And if they say yes, like, okay, awesome. And then you just walk them through, whatever system you have on your team. Do you have a messenger event you invite to? Like, what is the thing that you invite them to? And then that's what you have them do. Are you going to have them do a launch party? So that's when you really just need to get a system that works for you. Okay, so when someone comes in and they say, okay, yes, I am getting started. We get them started on the products and then we have a first post that they make. So make a first post. After they make a first post, Darla, I can send you our sheet. Let me write that down. I'll write your little checklist.
No, you're smooth mama.
Shares. New shares list. Okay, I'll send you that. But it's basically like having them make a first post, having them like have their own messenger event or something. Excuse me. Yeah, you can have that here, drawn it. And then having them share, having them invite to events, and then doing what you do. How do you get people on the products? You probably post and you probably reach out. And that's another thing too, why it's so important for you to show up. Because if you're not showing up on social, how can you tell someone, hey, post? They're gonna be like, wow, you don't post. People do what you get, like kids. They do what you do, not what you say, So it's just, again, making it so simple of why am I making this so hard,
Yeah, and we can wrap it up too, because I told Rachel originally like 20 minutes of her time. So I want to respect her time. I know she's just like a wealth of knowledge.
Sorry, y'all. I
you're
usually don't
fine.
like to long team calls, so I'm sorry that I'm making this crazy long
No,
for
you're
you.
not. You're not at all. Like we've learned a ton from you. So if anybody has like any really pressing questions they want to ask Rachel, message me and I can just send her a couple questions maybe that she can get to, on her own time, whenever she has time. But you've given us like a fire hose too. And it's all stuff that we've heard before, but sometimes it's like there are quite a few people on this team that are kind of like restarting or recommitting or, so it's really helpful to hear your story of how you've had to do that several times and like
Yeah.
figuring out that
It's normal, y'all. It really is. It's so normal. It's just deciding like I'm tired of being where I am and I'm ready to go somewhere else. So obviously I need to change something. And that's usually what it takes is you just being like sick and tired of being sick and tired, and no one can make that choice for you. And
well,
one more thing is,
go ahead.
oh my gosh, beautiful. One more thing is to, I had a couple notes here that was, hold on, where is it? I had victor versus victim mindset, like get out of the victim mindset of like, why is this happening to me? No one's working. It's like a lot of times you can change that around, be like, well, am I working? Okay, let's change that mindset to know like I am gonna work and I'm gonna make it happen. Hold on a second. And then one more thing is if Plexus isn't fun, hey honey, you can stay with me, but you gotta listen for just one more minute, okay? Like if Plexus isn't fun for you anymore, then what can make it fun? Like how can you find joy in it? Because there has been times where Plexus hasn't been fun for me. And I'm like, but you know what? My worst day at Plexus is better than my best day as a teacher. So how can I make this fun again? It's where I've had to realize like, okay, I'm gonna change up my Instagram and do some more fun reels that are fun for me. I don't care if it's in a box that it needs to be in. Like, I'm just gonna do something that's fun. Or you know what? I recently last year started doing sourdough and Plexus events, and it's fun for me. It brought back joy to something that wasn't really bringing me that much joy. And then having joy in it made me realize like, this is a freaking cool job and it's worth fighting for. So I would challenge you to do that too. What would make you think Plexus is fun again? What made it fun for you in the first place? Would it be grabbing your friend to do this with you? Would it be having a little event? What do you find fun? And then make that twist with it. How you do you have an outline? Yes.
It does. Yeah.
I'll send you, do you have it, Darla?
You sent it to my friend Ashley Spittler that's on here, so I can get it from her.
Okay, awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then yes, I have like a whole outline. It's literally everything. All the worksheets you need printed out. I have a
Yep.
live workshop live. I did like an hour and a half because that's how long my workshops are. So I literally did it as if I were doing a live workshop. So everything is in there. They've been really fun.
Yeah. And have you signed a lot of people from those, or is it more just like building community?
I have. So I will say it's not like immediate, but I feel like it's like usually they sign up within like 4 to 6 weeks after. I've gotten a few business builders from them.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because
they're good.
you reach back out and follow up with each person and ask them
Yeah,
if they're
so
interested.
on the little sourdough outline that you're gonna get, there's like a little survey thing that they take, and I do my like my Plexus spiel, and then I'll be like, if you struggle with any of these issues, go ahead and fill the card out, and then I'll contact you after. And then the next morning, I make it a priority to call every single one of them. And if they don't answer, I text them and say, hey, Rachel from Sourdough, want to chat about the issues that you said that you're wanting some goals with. Do you have some time today to talk? And then usually we get on the phone, and I would say about 70% of them sign up after I call them, and then after that, I just add them to my regular, like, follow-up funnel, and they follow up. Usually, they sign up later. I mean, I would say out of the, like, I don't know. I didn't follow up well in the beginning, I'll say that. When you start doing something, you're not very good at it, but then since I've tweaked it, I've really gotten in my rhythm, like, the past 6 months, and I would say maybe 20 people out of all of them that I've done haven't signed up, and I've probably had 80 people in the past 6 months, so,
Wow, that's awesome.
yeah. It's
Um, okay.
My biggest thing is getting
Oh, getting
bookings
bookings.
with
Oh, she means she's done a lot
Sour.
of sourdough classes and
Okay,
she's using your template.
okay,
Um, but she's not getting any like enrollments.
okay. So my biggest thing with that is I have found this sweet spot. I started with just inviting my friends and getting them together, but honestly, it was one of those where I'm like, okay, I'm not having fun like with my friends coming over. I was, but I felt like it was more like just us getting together and having fun, which was fine. But in the end goal, I always try and think about like, what's the end goal of this? It's to get people on Plexus. So I found a sweet spot was at the events offering to host sourdough events for them and their groups of people. So I would sign them up, like I would get events for people. So they would do all the work. They do all the inviting, they would get all the friends, and I would go there and show them how to do sourdough and talk Plexus. And I would get the follow-ups from their friends, so let's say Darla, let's say I don't know Darla, or I know Darla. Darla hosts for her 12 friends. She gets all the friends together. She does all the work, which is awesome. She brings them on. I just come and I just bring the sourdough stuff, talk about Plexus. I get all Darla's friends information. And then when one of them's interested, I go to Darla and say, hey, Darla, Sarah was interested in Plexus. Did you want to go ahead and get started on a combo too? So that you could benefit and do it with her. But I would rather you get compensated because you're the reason why I know her. Don't draw on the couch, please. On the table only. Thank you. Um, and so she like has sticky note on the couch. I'm like, no. So that's how I found like the sweet spot is doing that. But then also you're a lot bolder with people you don't know because you make excuses for your friends. You don't make excuses for people you don't know. So you're a lot bolder with them. So I would just say going out and get creative, like share on social media. Hey y'all, I know it falls, we're in the burr months. I know everyone's into cozy kitchens. I've been doing these sourdough events. They're so fun. I would love to host one for you and your friends. If you're interested, comment and I will message you the deets. And then also just getting the word out to people, like think about creative things that you can do. Could you do it in like a mom's group on Facebook? Could you do it in your local garage sale, group on Facebook? Could you let people at church know? Is there a billboard somewhere that you could put it up? Where are places that you can really amp it up? And then from there, I do feel like the win is when you're talking about Plexus, have them fill out that little chart while you're talking about Plexus and then call the next day. Like the calling is key because I wasn't
Are
doing that
you
and I wasn't getting a lot of signups. And then I started calling them after, and it was like huge.
and are you pretty passionate when you have like your little section of your event where you're
Oh,
talking
yeah.
about this? Okay.
Yeah. So when I do it, it's like I mix the loaf and then we have like 20 minutes. I tell them, like, okay, y'all, like, I don't shy away. I'm not like, hey, this is sourdough. We're going to mix in gut health. I'm like, this is gut health and you're going to learn how to sourdough while you're here. So, and I tell them, like, I have all my products lined up. I talk about them all. I have the combos there. I have like a slideshow before and afters going. And then I talk about my story. I talk about what the products do. And I tell them, I'm like, y'all got 20 minutes where you got to listen to me because our dough's got to rise. And so I'm very passionate about it. And people, I think it's being confident that you have something to offer people versus being like, okay, now that we're sourdough, okay, so what we're gonna do, this is gut health. It's like, hey, these products are awesome and you need them. So just being bold about it because people love to follow people that are bold and have authority, not people that are like meek and like, oh, like she doesn't seem that excited. Why would I be excited? So make it a thing and not just like, oh, here's sourdough. And also I'm gonna like kind of touch on these products. Had several scheduled, but then they just canceled. I will rethink where to get the word out. Okay, so the thing with that is I make my people pay. They pay $35. I've never had anyone question it, and I do no refunds. And so no one, I feel like that has been the difference of people canceling or not canceling because when I used to charge less, or I wouldn't have people pay up front. I would tell them like, "Hey, I need payment," and I would usually collect payment like 5 days before, and then I tell them no refunds, and then I have almost no one cancel. But when the first ones I didn't have that policy, I would have like, in a class of 12, like 4 or 5 cancel last minute and want their money back, and I'm like, it's a lot of work to do these, so, like, you know? So that's where, again, you just have to, like, learn as you grow and kinda change things up, but I feel like when people have skin in the game, then, like, some people be like, "Hey, girl, maybe I'll let you know, like, the day before." I'm like, "Hey, I get it that we're all busy, but I'm not gonna be able to hold your spot. I need you to pay X amount of days before because it does take prep work, and I do have to get supplies and materials." They're like, "Oh, I didn't realize." So a lot of people just think they're, like, showing up. They don't realize, you know? So just being upfront. Again, being upfront with people, I feel like is just so appreciated nowadays.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time, Rachel.
Yeah, I'm sorry y'all, this is like an hour long. My
No,
bad.
no, I'm super grateful that you gave us this much of your time and
Yeah, no problem.
so, so good. So anyway, we will let you go. I'll be giving you a hug, right, in like 10 days? Will I see you?
Yes. Ashley, no, you're good, Ashley. You're so good. Yeah, I'll see you in Hawaii. I'll be there. If y'all have any questions or anything, I'm an open book. Like, I am not someone that's gonna pretend like I'm something I'm not. So y'all just feel free to message me and I'm happy to help. If you weren't comfortable asking a question or whatever, I'm happy to help you.
Okay, well, thank you. I'll let you get
You're
back to your
welcome.
babies.
Yeah, I'm gonna put her to bed where she was
Okay.
supposed to be.
Hey,
Okay,
if
bye,
you guys
y'all.
if you guys have like 2 minutes to stay on after she jumps off, I just want to say one more thing. Okay. She was telling me we were talking back and forth in Messenger, and something that she said to me was that just really resonated was Plexus has a very high turnover rate, just like any other job. Like if you talk to anybody who owns a business and has to keep employees that are dedicated, committed, long term, most businesses have a high turnover rate, and it's no different with Plexus. And I think that if we, are always in that mindset of like needing to recruit in. I mean, I was just talking to Ella's boss. She just got a job at a boutique, and her just talking about how hard it is to find committed workers to fill the spots there and people that want to stick around and things like that. It's like it is no different with Plexus, and people have different reasons as to why they are committed in different seasons and are not able to be. I mean, I know I've been talking with Jeanette back and forth that July and August, I don't even know what happened. Like they were just so jam-packed with ministry and family and things that like my business kind of just went Choo. And so we all have those times, but then we have those times where we can, just like she said, start tomorrow, like start today. You can do it today. In fact, I sat down during Ella's volleyball practice tonight and I wrote down the name of 10 people that I'm going to reach out to tomorrow so that I don't have the excuse of I don't know who to reach out to. And it really is important to get those names ahead of time written down. So anyway, I am committed moving forward. I have recommitted my business. I definitely have been in a season of just kind of coasting and plateau and um ready to up level myself. And I'm excited that you guys want to come along in whatever form that looks like for you. But in our accountability chat, just be sure to comment what you did for the day. And even if you have to start small, you guys, it's a win. Like if you cannot start out messaging 10 people a day, if that's enough to make you crash and burn, then start where you can start. Do what you can do and build up from there. But I'll tell you, when you start to put your feet back in the water and you start to do things, that is when the motivation comes. Okay. You don't just sit there and like expect to just get motivated. Like you have to move your feet. And then when you start to see it just a little bit, a trickle of results from that work, that's when the motivation like starts to build and you want to keep going. So, anyways, I'm sorry this was so long, but I think it was really worth our time. It was really good. Does anybody have anything they want to say before we go? Any questions, comments? I did record this, Ashley, so if you want to watch the first part. Spittler, and you look fabulous tonight with your curly hair. Oh, hang on, you're muted. You're muted. There you go.
Sorry, I was at football practice and being taxi, and
Oh,
then it took longer than
that's
I
okay.
thought it would take, so I was late, so.
That's okay. You basically just like missed her story of like her ups and her downs and her ups and downs in
Yeah.
her business and having to like completely rebuild all over again. And you know, the more I hear those stories, it just it makes it feel like, okay, no matter where you are in your business, no matter how far you slid back, like you can rebuild it. You can completely rebuild it over and over again, if it's worth it to you. And I will tell you, having had mine slide back to the point where I was feeling threatened with having to go back and get a nursing job again, made me realize how worth it this is, the effort
Mhm.
put in. Not just for financial gain, but like when you are thriving in your business, like, and you are really truly building impactful relationships, that is so worth it to me too. Just to have those genuine relationships that you're building. So anyways, okay, well, I'm going to get this converted and get a YouTube link so that those of you who didn't see all of it can watch it. And I know there were some people who couldn't make it who want to watch it too. So anyways, I will see you guys in our chat. And who wants to pray in the morning? Ashley, can I pick you? Gili? You want to pray for us in the morning? Okay. I'll try to get like a schedule. And if anybody doesn't want to pray or is not available, you can let me know. But I think it's nice to start our morning off with a word of prayer. So
Yeah.
all right, guys.
that was great.
Thank you. What?
I said that was great.
Yes.
I just want to say like one thing, like coming from someone who hasn't been working, but like kind of like where she said, like at that fed up point, like just get into action. Like I've gotten into action the last 2 days. And as soon as you start like moving in action, like even starting with just like putting like doing happy birthdays and like being in people's messenger and just connecting in that way, like it kind of shifts the mindset a little bit. So
Yep.
just
And if
do
you
the
have like
things.
fallen off with your customer care, if you're like, I haven't touched in with any customers in like 19 months, not serious, but however long it's been, just say, I'm so sorry. Like I let life get in the way and like, I'm just really curious how you're doing. Or if you fell off the band or if you fell off the wagon with your health journey, kind of like I fell off in other areas of my life, like I'd love to help you get back on because I know that I've fallen off the bandwagon in my exercise and like other areas of my life. And sometimes you just need somebody to like pick you back up and get you back on track. So it's never too late to reach back out to people that you have just kind of forgotten about or just they've fallen through the cracks as well. So, and I love Ashley Spittler. I love that you got bold with people today about the cruise. Like, I mean, I know it feels scary because like, just like Ashley Geely said, well, then when they say yes, then what? Then what do you do? Right. And
Yeah.
it can feel scary to have people looking at you and being like, okay, now what do I do?
But
And
it's a pretty great incentive. I mean,
yeah,
that just might be what it takes for somebody to say, yes,
yeah.
I've been thinking about this and now, oh, that would be really great too. So
Well, and we've
I
got
don't-
that video that like tells them exactly how to earn it. We have graphics that map it all out. So like it's all there. It's just putting the pieces together of like helping them share, helping them do events, helping them put the
so
word.
those videos, we could share those with somebody who said that they're interested.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm. Absolutely. I mean, it's why reinvent the wheel if somebody took the time to like map it all out for somebody. And then there was a team call, I think tonight, a sideline team where they were like teaching their team step by step how to earn it too. I can see if I can get the recording for that as well. Because yeah, I mean, it really is the same simple stuff of a brand new person has a better chance of earning this, or it's easier for them in some ways because all of their small rank ups account for a lot of points, right? And so it just makes it an equal playing field. Like somebody can come in brand spanking new and earn this cruise in 2 months if they are willing to work. So anyway, all right. And then for those of you that are in, this is the last thing I promise. For those of you that are in here in the accountability, the working chat, let me know. Yes, you do. Points for every rank up. Yes. Let me know like privately, you don't have to tell me right now, if you are open to helping me run regular events, because I feel like if we divide and conquer, like one week I run a messenger event and then the next week Jeanette does, and then we have it on a schedule. It just feels really light and easy. And then the person that's going to run the event that week, no, you're fine, Angela. Thank you for joining us, friend. The person that's going to run the event that week can also be in charge of reminding us, like, okay, guys, we have an event Thursday night. Don't forget to invite people, because messenger events kind of feel like wah wah when there's nobody in them. But when they are full of people and people are excited, they actually are beneficial. I always will choose getting people in person if I can, right? Because I feel like there's so much more connection. But when you have people kind of all over the place, it's not always possible. And so if we can pool people together once a week to share. All right, I gotta go. Sorry. All right, guys, have a good night, and we can do another team call next week on Monday. So, all right, but I will see you in the chat tomorrow morning. All right, bye.